Guys, it's Fonzie with DipYourCar.com. This is the Dipping Industry DipCast podcast video cast,
So many casts.
episode 34. It's Fonzie from DipYourCar.com. With me, as always, is Adam on the other side of the table. Behind the sound box, sound booth, Dan working all the little switches and gizmos. It's been a while,
Has.
maybe 6 weeks even.
Really?
I don't know. It's been a while,
It has.
5 weeks, since we've done a podcast. And there's reasons for that, multiple reasons. Not so much, well, I don't want to say excuses, but reasons. I mean, it hasn't exactly been business as usual around DYC. Right. We've been working on some massive projects, and we're always working on some stuff, but we've got essentially 2 or 3 massive projects colliding together.
So are they colliding or blending?
They're not doing either, actually. They're on a parallel path of momentum. There's just a lot of trains on the track. So Gabe and I specifically, Gabe, our shop manager, have been spending a lot of time in the shop doing testing, development, really trying to educate ourselves on some new stuff going on. One of which we'll touch on today. Maybe the other even. I don't know. I haven't seen the show sheet.
Teaser.
Heyo. And then we're going to wrap up our breast cancer awareness. Why don't you tell everybody what's on the agenda today?
Lightning round and breast cancer awareness showcase shout-outs. I mean, you really stole my thunder right there.
Thunder and lightning. This guy's nonstop comedy. What exactly is a lightning round?
I'll be here all night. Lightning round is just basically we're going to touch base on the AutoFlex product and just kind of fire away some questions.
Is that the part? It's lightning.
Fast and Furious.
Boom, boom, boom.
Floyd Mayweather style. Training, not actual fighting.
Thank God. Dan, anything right now?
Not so far.
Yeah,
just
okay.
Enjoying.
Just taking it all in.
Good. So we've got lightning round about AutoFlex, which is pretty much why the majority of people are tuning into this episode to hear the discussion, learn a little bit about this amazing product line, and then we're going to run some showcase shoutouts. Now, we're going to do showcase shoutouts a little bit differently this time for a specific reason, and we'll get to that after we get through the meat and potatoes of what we got going on. So, lightning round about AutoFlex. I guess what we can do is just should I basically just tell everybody where we're at?
I'll steer the ship. You just work your way through those waves.
But I'm saying should we set the tone? If somebody's listening to this and doesn't know what AutoFlex is, and then starts hearing
they're living under a rock.
What I want to do is basically set the tone so that people understand what we're going to be talking about. Now, you've probably seen this, like Adam was saying. There's a new professional line of coatings coming out, the AutoFlex coatings. This is not just one single product. It's a family of products. We're talking about a professional grade base coat, which is going to be used for your base coats, your color coats, your pearl coats. And then we're talking about 2 different top coats, professional grade, high-end top coats, and then even a second or a third product, which is specific to clear bras. The majority of the hype right now is around that gloss, that very, very high-end gloss that people are able to achieve. And obviously you've seen it on the Porsche, you've seen it on the GTR. So, understanding the AutoFlex family of coatings, understand that it's a set. There's base product, top coats, and then off to the side is the clear bra product. So what do we have as far as questions?
Okay, well, it seems like you had mentioned, most of the hype is the gloss coatings, the AutoFlex gloss. So we're just going to kind of tailor these questions to cover. Most of them are going to cover the AutoFlex gloss.
Yeah, and I think that the majority of people, when they're asking questions about it, they want to know about the gloss. Now, like Sean Dungan was in today, one of our long-term installers, and of course he went and saw the Porsche, and the biggest piece of that Porsche to him was the gloss. His ability as an installer to achieve that level of gloss and the details behind that application. Now, I'll just say this before we get into questions about the gloss. The base product, the AutoFlex base product, is absolutely outstanding. It is head and shoulders. See, I'm not going to say it's better than other things because for a DIY person, Plastidip would be probably better.
Mm-hmm.
For a professional, AutoFlex base would be better. It's not
Okay.
one is better than the other, but different people for different applications.
Different people,
Of course, the product is going to be better suited for that person. But that base product is absolutely stellar, and it's perfectly compatible with the top coats on top. So let's jump into some questions here about the gloss.
All right. So first, is AutoFlex gloss peelable on its own, or does it need a base prior to being sprayed to be peelable?
AutoFlex gloss is not peelable on its own. You're not going to spray it directly onto a car. You're always going to have a solid base of the AutoFlex base product down first. Even when you're doing your clear bra application, there's a special product for the clear bra. But no, the AutoFlex gloss is not going to be going directly onto the OEM paint.
Okay. Is AutoFlex gloss only applied as the final coat, or are you going to apply multiple coats of it?
Like for pearls and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not going to use it for pearl coats. You're going to use it for one final finishing coat.
Okay.
The Porsche, which has gloss levels up in the 100 range. The GTR, which has hit gloss levels up in the 100 gloss unit range, which meets or exceeds an OEM factory clear. Both of those cars only have one wet coat on it. So you're not going to use the product for your pearls or stack 2, 3, 4, 5 coats. It's not only recommended, but suggested that just the one coat is needed and no more is done.
Okay. Now with this family of coatings, you mentioned that it's a professional product, but can this product or these products be applied at home?
I mean, if the question is, can they physically be applied at home? I mean, the answer is going to have to be yes, because there's nothing that's going to physically stop the product from functioning in a home environment. However, that's not what they were designed for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the gloss alone has an overnight dry time. Could be 4, 6, 8 hours of dry time, depending on the climate and the temperature. So the problem with doing something like that at home is not only are you going to have large clouds of overspray based on this gloss product being shot through a high-end HVLP gun, when home is not really the place for that, but there's dust, there's debris and things floating around in your air in your garage. So it's really designed for a clean, proper environment, or else, dust and debris and stuff can settle into the gloss while it's wet overnight. Can somebody get the proper spray equipment and have the spray technique and successfully do an installation at home? Yeah, I mean, it can be done, but it certainly won't be suggested.
Okay, so if it were to be sprayed at home, what type of professional equipment would you recommend?
Well, whether it's at home or in a professional spray booth, you're going to get the best results, hands down, with a compressor HVLP. I've been using the SataJet 5000 RP with a compressor, of course, and we can go over tip sizes and PSI and stuff like that if the questions come up. But we've been doing a lot of testing right now as far as, can you use a turbine sprayer or not? And I've been getting a lot of those questions. I've been seeing them on Instagram and email. I don't want to answer those questions yet because we've been doing some side-by-side comparisons. Can you spray the AutoFlex base product with turbine guns, or do you need an HVLP compressor? Can you spray the AutoFlex top coats with the turbine gun, or an HVLP compressor? Now, turbine gun means a lot of different things. A single-stage turbine from like a DYC gun, or a 5-stage turbine like a Titan. I'm going to go on, and basically say, if you want a professional result and you want the finish replicating that if you want to replicate the finish we're getting with the Porsche and the GTR, you're going to want to use professional equipment, a compressor gun. We'll know within a week or so, side by side, same hood, half and half, sprayed and sprayed, how close you can get to replicating that finish with a turbine gun. Who knows? I mean, the Titan itself is 9.5 PSI. It's pretty high CFM. And it comes with a 1.8 and a 1.4 tip. Could you use the 1.8 for the AutoFlex base and a 1.4 for the gloss? I mean, yeah, you're going to be able to spray it out. It's going to stick. It's going to dry. It's going to function. But from an orange peel leveling point of view, is it going to sit right? I don't know. We'll have to kind of do some more testing and find out. But this product is not, it's not a do-it-yourself product that you can do better if you have a professional system. That's what the DYC Top Coat is. DYC Top Coat is a DIY product that if you're using professional equipment, you can get a better result. This is a professional product where you can get professional results with professional equipment. And if you use DIY, just like the results of the Top Coat will go up when you go pro on the equipment, the results are going to go down when the quality of your equipment goes down.
Right.
Are there going to be people out there that spray this stuff and say, I don't care, I have the DYC sprayer, I'm going to do it and make it work? No one's going to be able to stop that. It's going to happen. And that person can always just sand down the orange peel and flatten it out and buff it and make it look great anyway if they want to put that time in. But there will be no question, there will be no muddy water. This product is designed for professionals, and that's all there is to it.
All right. Now, specifically, if somebody was going to use the AutoFlex gloss on something like, let's say, a motorcycle, is it going to peel off in those high friction areas like the tanks and stuff like that? Like maybe PDS will, from the friction of getting on and off the bike and things of that nature?
You know what? I think AutoFlex is like the holy grail essentially for motorcycle guys, because dipping your motorcycle in certain parts can be great and very durable and with no problems. But also those areas where your jeans are smashing against it and rubbing back and forth and stuff like that, dip isn't always the most abrasion resistant. You're not going to have that problem with the AutoFlex. Whatever top coat you use, one or the other, you're going to have excellent abrasion resistance. You can jam your legs and your jeans up against it all day long and really not have any problems. So I think it's going to be the thing that motorcycle guys have been waiting for. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. And so with the AutoFlex gloss, are people going to, this was actually an installer I wanted to know, are people going to pass out when they come pick up their cars or vehicles from these guys' shops?
Based on just how amazing it looks?
How glossy it is?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Did Sean pass out?
No, but I mean, he was
a little wobbly.
You know what? He's a sturdy dude. I would say that he said exactly what Jeremy said, which is, I can't believe it exceeded my expectations.
Nice.
Because, the thing about dipping, and I said this to Sean, most dip jobs look really good on video or really good on photos, but when you see them in person, there's a little bit of love lost there. It just kind of pulls away a little bit from the visual exposure. It doesn't quite match what you hoped it would be. This stuff is the opposite of that. You see a video of it, you see it in person, or you see a video of it, you see a picture, and it looks awesome. But when you see it in person, it looks better than it did in video and pictures. And you're taking it in because you can see the depth of the gloss. You can see it moving back and forth. It's just alive right there, and it's just awesome. It really is next level.
When you brought the Porsche over to the corporate office, I mean, we all went outside, and it was the glossiest car in the parking lot.
Without a doubt. I mean, we took our gloss meter and tested 5-6 OEM cars, and we couldn't find one that matched the same gloss level as the Porsche.
Aveo?
The Aveo broke the gloss meter because it couldn't even pick up any gloss. But and you're talking about one coat. One coat. It's crazy.
So are we only talking about, in terms of the AutoFlex gloss, obviously that's gloss. Is there only a gloss finish?
Nope.
Okay. Now with the AutoFlex gloss, is there a potential to get swirl marks like automotive clear?
I don't know.
All right. Will there be an upgraded like DYC top coat for current sprayers?
No.
All right. Will prepping and masking be similar or be completely different?
No, it won't be completely different. You're definitely going to want to be more responsible with your masking and more thorough with your masking. I mean, Plasti Dip, you get some overspray in a tight spot, a little bit of dip dissolver on a rag, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Once you lay this stuff down and you get the gloss down, or you get the top coat down, you're talking about durability. You're talking about something that's going to be scratch resistant, fuel resistant. So you're not going to be rubbing it off with a little bit of dip dissolver. So what you want to do is be more responsible with your masking and really dive in and put tape in extra places and
Mm-hmm.
open the doors and get things in its size. But again, this goes back to the fact that this is a professional level product.
Right.
So it's not for DIY. It's not designed for DIY people. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but I just think you got to remember, a professional is not working on his own car
Mm-hmm.
or her own car. They're not looking at different cracks and saying, it doesn't matter. It's my car. I'll get it out later.
Right.
The customer may not want overspray between the doors. They're not going to want to see things like that. So the professional guy or girl is probably already masking that way.
Right.
But yeah, masking is, there's no devastating consequence to getting overspray in the car by any means. But yeah, you really want to make sure that you're up to par with it.
All right. Is your face and or bicep going to be on the label of the gallons?
Actually, we took a 3D scanner and we mapped out Dan's biceps and realized that we didn't have the
can
the
wasn't big
space.
enough.
Correct.
It's huge.
So
It's huge.
we're going to have to save that for the 50-gallon drums.
All right. All right. But no to you.
No.
Okay. Aerosol cans, quarts, any other size or quantity available in any of these products?
Not yet.
Not
We're
yet.
going to start with gallons.
All right. And you've mentioned this before, but it can be sanded and or buffed, correct?
It can be sanded, buffed, and polished.
Okay. What would be the best grit sandpaper to use?
I'm not a body shop expert. I
Mhm.
won't pretend to be. I can tell you we've been doing a lot of testing with this. Jeremy was down and we were really running this pretty hard. And right now, what we were doing was using, I think we were using 1,000 grit. You know what? I want to look. I mean, there's definitely stages. You can go from 1 to 2 to 3. I mean, I want to look at it a little bit more and
Mhm.
really get a solid system down, because it's out of my element. I know that we were using different styles, different techniques, and a bunch of different methods were working. I mean, we were able to remove scratches. We were able to remove drips. We were able to completely flatten out any orange peel using different things. But it can be sanded with an orbital sander or by hand. It can be buffed down with using multiple different types of compound, and then it can be polished as well. And of course, waxed.
All right. Okay. And then does it still peel like Plasti Dip after a year, 6 months, 5?
Well, you know what? It's weird. It doesn't peel like Plasti Dip
Mhm.
because it's not Plasti Dip.
Right.
Plasti Dip builds up into a thick rubber sheet when it's applied correctly and peels off in big, huge pieces, and it's got a lot of stretch and everything to it. It's not the same product, and it's not supposed to be.
Right.
It's really interesting. Like the base product for AutoFlex is nothing like Plasti Dip. It's very, very thin, and it builds up a very thin layer of mils. It's not super thick. Plasti Dip, when you're done with your car, can be in the 10 to 12 mil range. We're seeing, even 4 to 6 mils in different applications of AutoFlex during testing. And I'm not saying that's the suggested build amount, but the best way to describe it is like if you go to Home Depot and you buy, and say you're going to paint your room, and you buy one of those clear plastic tarps that you're going to put down, that thick, hard plastic, that clear plastic tarp, that's what the AutoFlex base feels like when you peel it. It's really weird. It's totally different than what we're used to. So to go back to the original question, it doesn't peel like Plasti Dip. It releases from the car perfectly fine. It peels. But what you're going to find is the experience is a little different. It doesn't have the stretch, so it kind of will tear like a vinyl wrap almost. If you're trying to peel a whole door and you get a little bit too heavy on your right hand, you might peel it down the middle or split it down the middle. But it comes off really well as long as it's applied properly, of course. You're going to have absolutely no problem removing the product from the car. And, you know, we've had excellent results with that. So it doesn't peel like Plasti Dip, but that's the last thing you have to worry about is mimicking the way another coating peels off.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited to hear that because I've seen a lot of that kind of chatter. Oh, it looks like automotive paint. Oh, it's automotive paint.
Dude, let me tell you something. AutoFlex gloss is not automotive paint. It's not a modified automotive clear, and there's not anything wrong with that. But you're talking about something that mimics the gloss level and the feel of an automotive clear. It doesn't feel rubbery. It doesn't feel sticky or grippy.
Mm-hmm.
It feels and behaves like an automotive clear, but in its DNA, it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a rubber resin-based product like a Plasti Dip. It's got some flex to it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get hard or brittle. You know, when you're looking at it, you think that's definitely paint. But I mean, think about it. There's even a dissolver for the top coat. There's a product you can put on the top coat that actually dissolves it away, that can be wiped clean. You can't do that with automotive 2K clear. Just doesn't happen.
Right.
So believe me when I tell you that this is a completely different animal than anything you've ever seen before.
Oh yeah, anytime you bring the Porsche over to the corporate office, you know, there's a group of us that gathers outside, Dan included, that just, you know, you run your hand down the side of it and you're just like, I can't believe this is A, not paint, well, automotive paint, and B, that it peels.
Yeah. I mean, everything you're doing when you're spraying it and you're watching it lay down and you feel it after you're done spraying it, even the base coats, and you're using these high-end guns, it's so much closer to painting a car than dipping a car. I mean, I actually took some time banging heads with automotive painters during this development phase because I knew that with what we had and the way that it's applied and the way that it lays, you're like I said, you're more painting a car than you are dipping a car. Dipping a car, you're going back and forth and building up these thick puddles and wetting out completely. And this stuff is just going on so smooth and so slick, and it's a whole different experience. But the difficulty level of application isn't bad. I mean, you'll see in the instructional tutorial video when it comes out for AutoFlex. It's something that you can get the hang of really quickly. It's like top coat. Top coat is a tricky little bugger, you know.
So is glossifier.
Yeah, but top coat's much more difficult than glossifier because top coat, you either are in the regular bag of people who get a really good end result, but you see some orange peel there. Now we're talking gloss coats. We're not talking pearl. You drop pearl in a top coat and it's going to level 100 times better. I don't know what the science behind that is, but if you're using top coat for what it was made for, which is crystal clear, beautiful, clean satin finishes using pearl as your pearl substrate, you're going to knock it out of the park every time. But the people that want to stack 3-4 coats of gloss for a high-end or a high gloss finish, there's a small group of people that are able to really level that down perfectly. There is no gamble or hit or miss with the AutoFlex. I mean, you're probably gonna, if you're skilled and you understand how to use the gun and everything, you're gonna knock it out of the park the first time. I mean, I'm not a professional auto painter. I don't install and use these products, this equipment as much as our installers do. And the first full car I did by myself was the Porsche, and didn't even think twice about it. So,
are any of this family of products going to be available in California?
Not right now.
Nope. Okay. What would be the recommended PSI to spray at, and what would be the flash time between coats with this products? Or more specifically, probably the AutoFlex gloss, just because, again, that's where
the gloss you're going to use anywhere between a 1.2 and a 1.4, depending on how you want to handle it afterwards. So anywhere between a 1.2 and 1.4, you're fine. And the PSI I'm shooting, you're going to want to be between 28 and 30. And the Spray Wrap Pro, which is the base product, I use a 1.8, and I'm right around somewhere between 18 and 22.
Okay. Any rule of thumbs in terms of flash time or?
You know what? The base product, the Spray Wrap Pro, is, it's almost like Plasti-Dip. It's maybe 10, 12 minutes depending on the temperature, maybe 20 in the colder side.
Mm-hmm.
It does flash a little slower than Plasti-Dip, but it's quick. It's no
Okay.
problem at all.
All right. Are we going to offer the, spray equipment that's needed or recommended to spray like AutoFlex gloss?
Yeah, we are. I think the go-to gun, if somebody's coming and saying, "Hey, I'm starting from scratch," or I'm upgrading and I'm going to be shooting AutoFlex, what should I go with? I'm just going to tell them to use what I've been using, which is what was suggested to me, and that's the 5000 RP from SataJet. We are going to be, or we already are now, a SataJet distributor, so you'll be able to buy the guns that you need to get this product applied properly through DipYourCar.
Okay. Is this a DYC exclusive product, or is this going to be performance based?
Well, it's actually not a performance product. We obviously have an amazing relationship with Plasti-Dip. That'll always be the majority of our business model, is working with our family over at Plasti-Dip International.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we built our business off of, and we'll never lose sight of that. I mean, again, this product that we're talking about, the AutoFlex brand, is specifically for our professional products and
Right.
or customers. And although that seems extremely exciting, that's still a small group compared to the masses that are using the Plasti-Dip products.
Right.
So DipYourCar was built with the DIYer in mind, and it will always have that in mind as well. Never forget where you kind of rooted from. But this is not the AutoFlex products are not performance products. They're not exclusive to DipYourCar in the sense that that's the only place you'll see them sold. But DipYourCar is the one single master distributor for all AutoFlex coatings. So if you see it sold in other places, if you see it, being used here or there, it eventually at one point came through DipYourCar.
Okay. And then can the AutoFlex gloss be used for pearls and candy concentrates, or is this strictly going to be a gloss top coating?
It's going to be a gloss top coating. I don't know about candies. I don't have any experience with them really outside of some very small scale testing. You're not going to use AutoFlex gloss for pearls. You're going to notice some real freaking magic happen when you're shooting pearls in this system, because what you're going to see, and it even blew Jeremy's mind, when we were doing the GTR, we did, I think, 5 coats. We did 6 coats of black AutoFlex, or black Spray Wrap Pro. 5 coats of black Spray Wrap Pro. Then we came in with 5 coats of the pearl. 4 or 5 coats, I can't remember. Everything's meshing together. And we did the pearl in the clear Spray Wrap Pro. Spray Wrap Pro is a matte product. Make no mistake about it. It's matte. When he saw those pearls in the matte, he's like, man, it's a lot more muted than I thought. I thought it would have a lot more. I said, dude, just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you put the AutoFlex gloss over the Spray Wrap Pro and there's pearls in it, it instantly becomes crystal clear and comes alive, like your eyes are going to bleed. It's incredible as you make passes and you bring that gloss over and it quenches what's underneath. The Spray Wrap Pro, the clear, just immediately becomes crystal clear. The depth and the clarity is freaking nuts.
You had mentioned that you actually had a similar thought process about that, like when you were spraying the Porsche, where it's kind of like, what's going on here?
When we put our final coat of pearl down, Gabe and I looked at each other like, this does not look like we thought it was going to look. There's the clarity of the Spray Wrap Pro is not the same as the DYC top coat. DYC top coat, the clarity stays the entire time through every pearl coat. And the Spray Wrap Pro mutes out all the pearls underneath completely to where you're like, this is not what I anticipated. But when that gloss goes over it, something, I don't know. I don't want to know. I really don't. Something crazy happens, and it just becomes this crystal clear, magical wonderland.
All right. Probably, I think we only have a couple questions left, and these are probably the heavy hitters in terms of, the excitement's kind of building. Any potential release dates?
You know what? What is it? End of October. I mean, early 2016 is the safest bet. Can it be sooner than that? I mean, it's possible, but I would say the safest bet is early 2016.
Right. Okay. And how much of the new product would you need for your average size vehicle in comparison to laying down plastic at base, laying down top coat with pearls, and then laying down top coat on top of that for the high gloss finish?
I mean, it's a different system, and you're using different equipment, and the coats are thinner, and the product build is thinner. I don't want to. We're going to have very specific instructions when it launches. I mean, AutoFlex and DipYourCar, obviously, we're going to have very specific ways to go about it, and minimums and stuff like that. I think as a general rule right now, you're going to be looking probably like 10 coats of base. So 10 coats of Spray Wrap Pro, probably one tack coat before that, and then 10 coats of Spray Wrap Pro, whether it's a combination of color coats and pearl coats or just all color coats. And then you're going to be putting just one coat of the top coat on top. You'd be shocked at how little product we used of the top coat. For the Porsche, we used just a little over 1 quart. I mean, the hopper, the paint cup is 0.9 liters, like basically 1 liter, which is almost a quart. We used just a hair more than that on the whole car. Jeremy's car, which the GTR, not small, not freaking small. And we used less than 2 quarts on his car, 1.5 quarts.
Wow. So
you're using such a little amount of product. It's really kind of mind-blowing. Now, the base coats, again, you're going to use the same stuff, 3, 4, 5 gallons per car or whatever it is. You want to build that base up nice and thick and stuff. But, man, when you're using such a little amount of gloss, it's just incredible.
Okay. And last but not least, approximate price points.
I mean, it's expensive. I don't know really what to tell you. It's expensive. It's not PD pricing. It's not, you're not going to be coming in as an installer and getting half pricing on stuff. It's a professional grade product, so the pricing is already going to be tailored towards professionals. I mean, DYC installers and stuff, you might get a little break here and there, but the products are going to be expensive. The base coats are definitely more expensive than PD. I don't want to throw numbers out there because we're still working on volumes and raw materials and stuff like that, so we don't have final pricing. But I would expect the base coat gallons, the professional base coat, the Spray Wrap Pro, to be I don't know, maybe in like the 75 to 80 range, probably closer to 80. And then you're looking at gloss, which is obviously considerable. I mean, the gloss gallons are really freaking expensive, but it depends on the relevance to it. It depends on the perception.
Right.
1 gallon is going to be a lot more expensive than buying 1 gallon of top coat. But it's all relative, because let's take a standard size sedan. If you're a professional and somebody comes to you right now and says, all right, I want Nebula Blue with a high gloss top coat, or high gloss finish. What are your options right now? Well, if you want to use a proven product, your option is DYC top coat. That's just the end of the story. If you want to do a standard size sedan and you want a high gloss finish, which is 3 to 4 coats of high gloss, you're looking at least 2 gallons of DYC top coat just for gloss coats only. And say those cost you $80 each. You're at $160 worth of product. Nobody shakes a stick at that, right? Say you're looking at an AutoFlex gallon, and I'm just throwing numbers around right now. Say it was $2.50 a gallon. Well, right off the bat, on a standard size sedan, you're not even going to use a half gallon on it. We've proven that time and again, you're going to use probably less than a half gallon, but let's just round up and say a half gallon. So a $250 gallon, you're using half of it, you're now at $125 worth of material for the same car. DYC top coat, $160, and you've got a DIY style or quality finish. $125 worth of product, 1 coat, and you've got a light years down the road version. The gloss, the clarity, fuel resistant, scratch resistant, sandable, buffable, waxable, extremely durable, essentially removable paint. So the cost what you don't want to look at as a professional, especially, is what's the price tag. It's
Right.
what does that mean to me?
Right. Don't get tripped up on that.
I mean, geez, if somebody looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, it's $2.50 a gallon," which I don't even know if that's what it is yet. Well, I'm going to look at you immediately and say, "Well, you're talking half gallon per car right off the bat." So that's 2 cars. You're staring at 2 cars right there, unless you got something huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then compared to what's relative right now, it's a complete no-brainer. I've had that conversation with probably eight or so really good installers, private conversations about pricing, and every single one of them like, so what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I buy it? You know what I mean? If you understand what that is, it's the last thing you're worried about. $125 worth of product for a finish that is just on a completely different planet than anything you've been able to do before.
Right, right.
So,
all right. Well, that kind of wraps up the lightning round. I'm sure a lot of people were anxious about that, and not probably our jokiest, chummiest episode.
Not the chummiest.
But you know what? I think probably one of the heavy hitters that we've done so far.
Well, people want to know, man. I mean, that's one of the things. If I was in the dipping industry right now and I saw the teasers that were coming out, I'd want answers, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'd ask questions and I'd want answers. And the best way to really address everybody at one time is through a podcast like this,
Right.
where we can, like, what did we do? We went on the Dippers Anonymous or DYC community. We said, let's hear your questions about the AutoFlex. Let's hear them, collect them together. Excuse me, and then we'll go through and knock them out, the best we can. And so we collected all of the community's questions, and we're addressing them all at one time. I'm sure there's going to be more questions, but there's going to be more and more answers coming out soon. I know that the AutoFlex website is going to be opening soon. That'll give you at least a look into what's going on, the family of products, and what they mean and what they stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we'll be doing pre-orders towards the end of the year. That would be freaking awesome. And we'll continue to do more test vehicles, and there'll be some more DYC installers getting to shoot the product and really swim in it a little bit and enjoy it, because, man, it's everything that you really hoped it would be. And I want to touch real quick, because I've seen a couple comments of people saying, and there's going to be people watching this saying, man, I'm a DIY guy. I thought DYC was really all about the DIY. Making stuff now that's out of my reach. We're not purposely making things that are out of your reach. But the entire market has to continue to evolve. And if the market evolves and the products evolve, and it gets to a point where you can get this type of a finish, but you have to be using professional equipment in a professional environment, we're not going to stop and say, well, let's not develop that, because it's going to be restrictive. It's one of those things where you just really want to be able to make it, not everybody happy, but there's a lot of people out there that are going to thrive with this, and they deserve it. They've been professionals for a very long time, and there should be some separation between what a professional can do and what a DIY person can do. That's why they're professionals.
And you always talk about how we here like to try to push the envelope, always push forward, whether it is starting with matte gallons and 4 or 5 different colors, and then moving on to new colors, and then pearls, and then glossifier and dip pearl top coat.
Dude, it's
we're
about
always
moving
trying to
forward.
Exactly.
And you know what? We could make a lot more money, sell a lot more product if we took these AutoFlex coatings and just mass marketed them. Oh, we got a new top coat. We got a new product. You can spray it through the DYC gun, and we could move more volume just by saying we got new stuff. Everybody use it. But that's not what it's about.
Right.
That's not what these were developed for, and it wouldn't be even fair to the products, if that makes sense. There's going to be no muddy water. You're not going to hear me flip-flopping on this. I'm sticking to what it is. These products are developed for professionals. They're made to give the professionals an ability to grow and expand their businesses, for us to knock down the doors of paint shops, body shops, insurance repair shops, custom shops, because they didn't see dipping as a viable option because of certain, challenges. These products don't have those challenges. So it's very healthy for the industry. And trust me, if you're a DIY person and you really want to use this stuff that bad, you're going to find a way to upgrade your equipment, and you'll find a way to get the product in your hand.
And if not, you have the
you have the most amazing stuff in the world right now.
That stuff's not going anywhere.
I mean, it might as well just go with the example of that stargazing thing I was saying, to you guys in private. It's like you can buy $100 telescope as a DIY person and see some amazing things out there. And that's like PDS and DYC Top Coat. It's DIY level, but you can do amazing things with it. But there are things in the universe that you simply can't see with a DIY telescope, $100 telescope. You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people out there with much more advanced equipment, much more expensive and advanced telescopes that can see things that you'll never see. And that doesn't mean the little things or the things that you see aren't amazing. They are. But there's always going to be next levels. You have to understand and appreciate that and accept it. And it's not like somebody's going to say, well, there's lots of stuff out there that we could see, and say, but we're not going to go that way because we'd have to build a $5,000 telescope or a $100,000 telescope. There's people that are going to buy it, and they're going to be the pros, and professional people with professional equipment are always going to be able to achieve more, in a sense, if they have access to professional products. So again, it has nothing to take away from what we're able to do now. Our personal cars will still have Dip Your Car and Plasti Dip products on them. Our videos will always be, the majority of them will always be DYC and Plasti Dip products, because that's what we built our company off of. We already built that tree. We're not chopping that down and growing another tree. We're just growing one branch off that tree, one more branch. It just happens to be a freaking awesome branch.
Right.
So,
question to you, is the Aveo still going camo tan, or are you going AutoFlex?
Well, I'm not a professional, so I'm definitely going to do the camo tan.
Yeah, I'd love to see that happen still. By the way, we'll film that and get it out there.
All right, so we spent a lot of time on that. I know a couple of people had asked about, we collected showcase shout-outs a couple weeks ago. Were we going to use those? But we figured October's almost over. And even though breast cancer awareness isn't a 1 month thing,
right?
We kind of pay tribute to it this month, and I know a lot of our customers do. We offer the sale on Panther Pink and Fierce Pink, and we got a lot of cool photos, whether it was on the community, anonymous, or just emails and things of that nature. So we were going to do something a little different before the month was over for this showcase shoutouts.
Yeah, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is a big deal for us at Dip Your Car. There's a handful of employees that have had their lives affected by breast cancer. So, we take that to heart, and every year the entire community, the dipping community, takes it to heart as well. And they step up to that next level, and every year we see more and more and more, not only dipped cars and wheels and vehicles, but the creativity level goes through the roof. How many times did we see people etching out and masking off breast cancer awareness ribbons, and guys like Darren with his Tesla doing all this crazy stuff? And what we wanted to do is make sure that everybody who contributed to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the dipping community got a shout out, a showcase shout out, and some love. So we're going to switch up the style a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a breast cancer awareness tribute at the end of this episode here. Throw a little music down and let everybody's project get some limelight so you guys can enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So right now, Dan, do you have anything you want to add? Because we're going to end here and let these breast cancer awareness showcase shout-outs ride it out.
When's that Aveo video coming out?
You got anything?
When's that Aveo video coming out?
All right, guys. We'll check on the next episode. Please stick around and enjoy these awesome pink showcase shout-outs.